Well, hi, folks, and welcome to another one of our student interviews. It's an absolute privilege and joy to be discussing the student journey of our next two incredible business owners, Britt and Shell. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves in terms of tell us your names, your locations, the business that you run, and the types of clients you serve. And then I've got a whole bunch more questions to ask you. But take it away, ladies. Tell us who you are and what you like to do.
Cool. Well, I am Britt and this is Shell, and we are the owners of Pineapple Fitness, which is a women's only group fitness business located in Newcastle, Australia.
Which is by the beach. So a lot of we do outdoor fitness. So throughout the summer, we train barefoot on the sand, but even throughout the winter, we train outdoors predominantly. So either by the beach or we have some like mum's classes at the park and evening classes as well. But yeah, all serving women of Newcastle. And so group fitness is the current model that we're working with at the moment. And yeah, I guess the range is we've got our youngest client is 14, but then I think the oldest one, how old is she? She's 60 something?
Yeah, late 60s.
But the average age of our clients is about, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Around about that mark.
Gotcha. I love it. And you mentioned there are a couple of things. One, obviously, being women's only focused, which gives you a real point of difference in the marketplace. And also that you do things outdoors, no matter what the weather. But you have also just recently opened a facility as well, right, where you're able to offer some additional services on top of what we've just discussed.
Yeah, so we've just leased a big warehouse, which we have converted into a lovely studio/gym, and we are looking to expand our services to semi-private, as well as honing in a bit more on our personal training and workshops. So the semi-private, we're super excited for. We're about to launch that in the next month. So yeah, it should be really good to use the space that we have and the beautiful studio that we've created.
I love it. Well, we've got a bit of an idea of where you are now, but what we want to talk about right now is where were you prior to MPE? What was the business doing? What did it look like? What sort of revenue we're generating? Tell us more about that.
Well, so we joined MPE in November 2017. So we're talking, 18 months ago. And prior to that, so probably easiest to describe what it was like just before joining NPE. It was coming up close to Christmas. We were kind of thinking about, reflecting on the year that had been and thinking about the year that was, how can we plan for the year coming? And we'd been in business together for about 3 years. And we honestly, just like, we don't have it in us to keep going. We don't have the energy to keep pushing for another year and get this, get to this time the next year and be like
in the same position.
Because when we look back on the previous year, but the years before, we were pretty much volunteering in our business. We'd had some pretty hefty challenges that some had been handed to us that we didn't, really have that much control over. Some of them were steep learning curves. But what it meant was that we were burnt out. You couldn't even almost do the sums on the hourly rate we were making because it was so small. Literally
taking next to nothing out of the business as owner's wage. Then it wasn't just the money. It was we could not could get past a certain number of clients. It was one in, one out. So that was demoralising. We also had a crew of staff members that were not 100% aligned to our vision. So it really was a struggle to push the business forward because it was just us two driving it and no one else kind of bought in on our vision and helped us drive it forward.
Yeah, so the numbers look like it was around about between 10 to 12 grand a month, and we sat between 55 to probably more like 65 to 80 clients. Like we could never break that 80 client barrier, which was just kind of keeping us in that same position. We couldn't push through there. So we'd actually made the decision to close at Christmas.
Yeah.
We would still love the industry. We were passionate about helping people. We were passionate about our clients. We thought we need to just shut this down and start again. But we hadn't really hatched that plan.
No. We were out. We were like, Christmas time, I think this is it. or we'll try a different business model, or we'll go get personal training jobs or something. It was just, too much. Our relationships were suffering, our personal life was suffering, and we just couldn't see it being successful in the short term. Lost all motivation and hope.
And then remember that day I'm like, so we are going to close, but I just need you to take this phone call.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to these people. They're just going to tell us it's a really good idea, and maybe they'll give us an idea of what to do moving forward. And
yeah. And I was so skeptical. We had tried other, business coaches. We'd been to the seminars, listened to the podcasts, read the books. Nothing had worked and made the business, successful. And I was just like, there's nothing that's going to work. Like, we're just not meant to be business owners. I was so skeptical to take that phone call.
I was just laughing and chuckling to myself because I remember that phone call very well, and since I've learnt that you were coming onto it fairly negatively, which makes perfect sense now when I look back on that call, Britt. But the awesome thing was that you guys were still open and you still had enough sort of oomph left to just at least look at what could be done, even though, as you said, you tried a bunch of things before and they just hadn't worked. So that's where you were. Now let's fast forward a little bit there. You were doing your 10 to 12 a month, burnt out. You guys weren't taking any money out of the business at all. One client in, one client out. Staff weren't aligned. What does the business look like now? Like, what's been the differences and share numbers and revenue, but also your own, because you said your relationships are suffering too. Talk to us about what's happening now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably good to look at it in two parts, like where we were 12 months later, like December, the year just gone, and now another 6 months later. So the December just gone, we were sitting at $20,000 per month.
Yeah, we hit 20K, 20K actually in October. That's when we hit we wanted to hit them in November, but we hit them early. So we got to 20K per month and we had 110 clients. We secured a studio earlier in that year, 2018, and had outgrown it by that stage. So we're on the lookout for a bigger studio, which is the one we're in now. In that year, I went overseas and was able to get married overseas and take the whole team, pretty much. Take me.
And Shell fell pregnant, so was just about to start her maternity leave with her baby. So that was 12 months after MPE, and now 18 months, so another 6 months on, we have hit $30,000 per month. Our clients are sitting at around 150. We're in this incredible studio, and I think like one of the biggest achievements for us is that we've really stepped into leaders, and we have an incredible team around us that are stepping into leaders themselves. We never thought that was going to be possible. We thought we would always have the reins, but we have 5 incredible staff members, and they are stepping up and leading this business in the place we want it to go. So the whole thing doesn't fall on our shoulders anymore.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that?
I always have something to add, but no, I think you've identified all of those areas really well. I guess just the point of splitting it up into 12 months and 18 months is in that 12 months, we still had 2 really major life events. Britt got married and I had a baby, so clearly our relationships got mended.
Yes.
But also, and Britt and I, although our relationship was still there, it's been a really supportive environment in these last 12 to 18 months as we've been able to develop individually, but also our relationship has grown even closer and stronger, I think, as we are managing a successful business.
Exactly. Yeah, and makes our relationship, it puts less pressure on our relationship. We're not trying to figure it all out and propel a business forward. We're, successfully propelling a business forward, and we can look back and go, wow, we did that. Like it adds so much.
Yeah. At Christmas last year, so Dot was 3 weeks old, and Britt got married early in the year. It was so cool to sit back, because we often you sit back and take stock and look back at the year. And it's like, we are actually celebrating a successful business. We're not sitting here going, okay, so next year if we put this and this and this in place, then hopefully we'll be able to. Like, we actually could sit back and say we were we'd worked just as hard as we had every other year, but it had been fruitful. And that was
really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I should probably add on that Shell had said 12 months earlier at the end of the year that we're about to shut, like if we are open next year, I want to be driving to our team Christmas lunch and be so stoked to hang out with these people for a couple hours, and then be driving to our client Christmas event and be even excited to hang out with the whole team and all the clients and celebrate a successful year. And that's what we did. Like, we were so pumped to go to the Surf House, a local restaurant, and hang out with our team members, and they're awesome people, and it feels so weird that we hit that goal.
Yeah.
It's super exciting, and it's been a pleasure to be a small part on that journey and to watch your growth and the achievements, and you guys, recognizing each other for the efforts that you put in too. So just to sort of summarize there, so you went from sort of 10K a month to 20 in the first year, and now 6 months later, 18 months in the program, now at 30K. So you've tripled your monthly revenue. You've got a team on board that you love and that loves the business as if it was their own, and are working as inspired as you guys do and are. And your relationships are so much better. I love what you said there, Shell. Clearly, they are better. You got married and you had another child, young Dot, which is awesome. But you've also been able to spend more quality time with those that you love as well, because you're not stressing about the business all the time and having those same circular conversations. So that's super exciting.
Getting paid.
Oh yeah, we paid out. That's probably a good point to it. We started paying ourselves.
Well, that's exciting. And I know you've obviously got finances well mapped out as well. There's a chunk in the bank, which is now there. You've got plans, and you're able to project forward with your revenue so that you know exactly what's coming in over the next 3, 6, 12 months. And you're now excited about the next steps, because you've got the facility now to really launch where you want to go, which is super, super inspiring. And, you guys really do deserve it. It hasn't all been smooth sailing though, has it? I mean, there's been some challenges, some hiccups along the way. Talk to us a little bit about that. What do you think the biggest challenges have been for you guys over the last 18 months of working with MPE?
Oh, ourselves?
Yeah. I think every step of the way and every step forward now it's ourselves. Like at the start, there was implementation issues, such as bringing in contracts and bringing in different memberships and rebranding. So there were challenges that are kind of outside us, but now every challenge is a leadership issue, pretty much. So reflecting on ourselves, what are we doing to bring this out in either our clients, our business, or our staff? And they're going to be consistent, but exciting, because we've got great framework and we've got structure and we've got support. So that's good. But some of our challenges.
Well, I think like what you touched on before, like when you rewind back to when we first were getting started, and it's still what comes up for us now. It's that not good enough. Like we didn't want to rebrand or change our rates or do anything that was going to make us a more successful business, because we were scared everyone would leave us because we're crap, which, is still a theme that, I think everyone has kind of inside of them, that not good enough stuff. And so I guess it's about, and one of the biggest learnings from NPE, or something that, you particularly, Rick, but NPE as a whole hold us accountable to, is coming from that, being part of a growth mindset and coming from an empowered stance. It's like, if it makes sense to do it, then you need to back the process, follow the instructions and implement it, and put your big girl pants on and just do it. And surprise, surprise, our clients didn't all leave us. Our business built. So I feel like that's the theme in our challenges. Like it's challenging to
every day.
Find the right, logo. It's a challenge to
find the right system, find the right staff. Like everything is a challenge, but it all comes back to doing the scary things and leaving that comfort zone. And every step of the way, like Rick will tell me to do something and I'll be like, I'm not doing that. But I don't show that on my face because I've got a good poker face. But I'm like,
oh, now you tell me.
I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That will not be happening. But then I end up doing it and it works out fine. And I'm like, oh, well.
I don't know if we've told you this, Rick, but it's very useful for everyone too. Even when we don't have a coaching call with you, or we're like in a situation where like, what would Rick do?
Yeah.
And thinking, but because you've been consistent in helping us step up, it's actually our way of asking each other to step up.
Yeah.
Right.
That's been a really, really great thing. And I guess out of the challenges, the lessons that we learn is it's just about stepping up and about, owning the good stuff and really celebrating the good stuff and knowing that we can get through the challenges, but challenges are, there's usually a simple solution, but it's not always easy.
Right. Well said. It is amazing, isn't it? And it's one of the things. I mean, every successful person in life has a coach, because that's what it requires. Sometimes we've got our own lenses that we look at things through, and to get a different perspective can be enlightening. And having that accountability built in is awesome. But you guys have done it, and one of the things I love is that even though it's been challenging, and now you've told me you said you weren't going to do it, but you looked at it, you took the advice, and then you ran with it and did it, even though it was scary. And that's a significant step in your own development, both professionally and personally. And now when I see you guys talking about challenges, well, that's what they are. They're just challenges that will be overcome. They're not, huge life-threatening or business-ending dramas that can also just take a ton of energy out of you. You guys have got it well sorted now in terms of where everything is, and there's going to be more challenges to come, because that's life, and that's what makes the journey exciting and fun, and it really is awesome to see. So staffing I wanted to touch on as well, because you've mentioned obviously that you've got a great team that is with you now, and leadership, as you said, Britt, has been a significant development and growth for both of you. You've had some challenging times with staff, though, where you had to let some people go, and these weren't just any old people. Tell us a little bit about that. I know it seems like a long time ago now, but it was tough at the time.
Yeah. So we had a team of trainers who, reflecting on it, we from the get-go did not have a good structure in place, a good framework in place to bring on core value aligned people
and support
them. And through the processes that we have put in place with MPE, we have got a real robust system that identifies people from the get-go who are aligned to our core values, and if they fit, then the other stuff is pretty teachable, as long as they've got people that are willing to teach them, aka Shell and I. And back then, I don't think, I wasn't a good boss. I wasn't a good leader. And I really had to step up into that space, and it is uncomfortable. You're not everyone's friend. You are there to be their teacher and their guider. I think we did have to let a few people go. And it was really hard, like really, really hard. But it was a matter of kind of, do you want to take this business to the next level, or do you want to stay in your comfort zone of being everyone's friend?
Yeah. And like reflecting on where we're at now, like we've grown as leaders a lot. We're rewinding to almost 12 months ago or more when this actually happened. So we're even more enlightened now. But even at that time, I think part of the process was us realizing that we could have done it better. So we showed up to when we had to deal with this really tricky and hard situation to own the part that we could have done better. And it wasn't an apology, but it was like, we can see how we could have done this better. This is what we need. This is very clear about what we need. And we gave them the opportunity to engage with us on that level, but both of them, the two that were left in the end, were just like, I don't want to engage that way. I don't want to do that. So I guess it was part of that clarity, being clear about what we need, clear about what we need from you, and giving them the opportunity and support to actually step up. But in both instances, including a family member of Britt, so it made the situation extra tricky. They chose to not continue their journey with us because they weren't willing to give us what we needed. So I think that I really, really learned a lot out of that about owning what you need to own. It is how it is. Can't go back and change it, but this is what we both need to move forward. Yeah. Can we make that work? Happen? So.
Yeah, it's priceless, isn't it, when you've developed that level of confidence and you're able to articulate what your vision is and what you need and require to get there. And as you said, owning up to the mistakes that you've made as well. I mean, that's what great leaders do and inspire people. So, yeah, well done. It would have been easy to get thrown off course then, because it was a pretty challenging time, especially as it meant you were really losing the team and you guys had to jump back in and do everything all over again. We've talked about the challenges, obviously the successes of where you're at now in terms of, it's not just the money, but it's also the time freedom you have, the ability to spend more time with your families and not stress about the business and clients and staff. What have your biggest lessons been? What sort of lessons have you learned, do you think, over the last 18 months that others would benefit from?
I think, so thinking about, we've been partnered with NPE, so there's a plan. You make sure the plan's tailored for your needs and you take action. So follow the dang instructions and take action, being accountable to do so. You know, I can talk till the cows come home, but that doesn't get anything done.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably the biggest lesson, and that applies to all areas of life. Like, our clients need plans. We need plans for business. You know, we need plans for home. Like, everything needs a plan, but without execution, there's no point in having a plan.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? That sort of 80% rule. Get it 80% done and out the door, rather than waiting for it ever to be perfect, because it never will be. And by the time you've waited, you've probably changed it anyway, and now you're right back in square one. Well, you guys have certainly done that, even when it's not been necessarily something that you've believed in wholeheartedly, but you did take the action, and now you're reaping the results. So, look, I'll go for it, Shell.
I was just going to say, the reason that we've been able to take action is because even if we couldn't see the bigger picture, where, you know, you personally have had boot camps, you've been able to help us see it in that bigger picture mentality, which helps us then come back to that empowered stance and that growth mindset. Yeah. To go, and it's usually out the awkward and the uncomfortable. That is why we don't want to do it, if we truly look at the picture of going, yeah, I can see the value in this. So, you know, I think we've learned to take action even if the feelings don't feel perfect. You know, like even if you know the plan's good, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel so great. But so that's where the accountability to take action on the plan is. Yeah, definitely invaluable.
Well, it is exciting, isn't it, when you've got clarity over the vision, and then the pieces that you don't have, then you can work on that with someone who has helped others with that vision as well. And that's exciting for you guys, because I can't, you know, it's only been 18 months, whereas it seems like it's been a long time in some ways, but it's gone very quick in others. Who knows where you'll be in 18 months from now. Global domination's probably right up there. In terms of, there'll be a bunch of people listening to this call going, this is amazing. This is a complete, you know, turnaround with the business, not just financially with tripling revenue, but also profitability and being able to pay yourselves, you know, a good salary and consistently, and having money left over in the bank, and a significant sort of portion of business savings and that time freedom. What would your advice be for others who are sort of listening on a call and maybe in some similar challenges with their business, or don't have a clear plan, or stuck and not sure how they can get to the next level? What would your advice be?
Mine would be acknowledging that good coaches need coaches, and that's not failure. That's really smart. Because I think we resisted actually seeking that out, possibly for a good 12 to 18 months before we joined NPE, because we almost thought that would be conceding failure if we needed someone else. Like, we're
tell us what to do.
We love fitness. We can do this. We help clients.
Can't be that hard, surely.
And so then we just get stuck in that story. And once we got out of that, like, we're coaches. We coach people. We rely on the fact that good people need coaches. So,
definitely. And acknowledging that, and then following the plan that the coaches give you. Take your time to find a decent coach. And the reason we were so, compelled to join NPE is because, like Shell was saying, they'd been there. They only specialize in fitness. They know fitness through and through. It wasn't, they're trying to also help financial advisors and accountants and blah, blah, blah. We knew that we could rely on them to give us advice in running a fitness business. And then once you find yourself a good coach, listen to them. Follow their instructions. follow the dang instructions, and it will come through.
Yeah.
It will take time, it will take hard work. You'll hate it, you'll love it, you'll hate it, you'll love it, you'll hate it, you'll love it.
I think we're always wanting to work hard. It's just you want to work hard on the right things.
Yeah.
And that's where a coach can help you have clarity and
That's
do all
it.
that stuff.
You can work all day on things that you know that are going to be helpful. But we were just working in circles prior.
Well, it's great having that confidence, isn't it? And the step-by-step plan to know that what I am doing right now is going to drive the business forward, and it's not just a busy task, it's actually a priority, which is a great thing to have clarity over and be confident with, because now you're not just doing it and wondering whether it's the right thing, you're doing it with complete confidence and assured that you are moving the business forward. So it's awesome, and some great advice there. I hope everyone listening, if you didn't get all of that, it's well worth rewinding and replaying just that last bit there, because there's some gold in it. Look, you guys are awesome. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the program and the wider community, and it's just always fun. You guys always bring the best version of yourselves to the call, whatever that might be on the day, and you do take responsibility for everything that happens in the business, and to watch your growth personally and professionally has been a real privilege. And as I said, I'm very, very honoured to be a small part of it. I'm looking forward to watching this space and seeing what happens in the next 12 months, probably even 6 months, to be honest, not even 12 or 18, to where you guys are going to go. But thanks so much for your time, and you really will be inspiring a bunch of people who are maybe in the same situations you are, thinking about shutting and closing and walking away with our tails between our legs. But it'll inspire them to make a call and get the same results as you guys. So Britt and Shell, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
We'll certainly speak to you again very soon.
Thanks so much.
See you later.
Bye.
Well done. Bye-bye.